Down. So we are live on Facebook, I believe, right now. Hello, everyone who's
Hi.
tuning in. This is Between the Streams. I am Greg Nibbler.
And I'm Ryan Juanita.
And so this is our other show that we do here. We're about television, entertainment,
Movies.
different things that are happening. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about today because there's news in regards to Indiana Jones that
Yep.
just came out this last week.
It's
that I
all
am,
Disney.
I am not. It's
like
all Disney.
all Disney, and then there's some Indiana Jones stuff, but there's Star Wars, there's Marvel.
Yeah,
It's very Disney today.
All the news. As we go through the show too, we want your feedback on Facebook because I want to know what people think about these things. Because some of the shows we're going to talk about, I don't know. They're getting a lot of press, but I'm not entirely sure if it's something I want to watch. I want to see what people's opinions are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we start off here maybe with this one? The biggest news I would think in the week, the big trailer,
Yeah, the big trailer, the Doctor Strange trailer.
Doctor Strange,
which looks amazing.
It does look good, and I'll admit I didn't read the Doctor Strange comic. So
Yeah, I was very unfamiliar with
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, so I've been doing some research.
Right.
If you would like me to
Yes, will you
help
fill us
break
in?
this down.
That is good for anybody who
For the
doesn't
audience.
know, other than
So Doctor Strange is part of the Phase 3 of Marvel Cinematic Universe,
okay.
and he will bring about the multiverse.
Explain this
Which,
part.
For those who don't know what the multiverse is, watch Rick and Morty right now. Come back to us. Actually, you can't do that. We're live, so watch Rick and Morty.
Put a pin
later.
in that. Make a note to yourself. Jot that
so
down.
the multiverse, is all these different universes happening at the same time. It's a true, it's a real physics theory that they think may be true.
Right.
Whereas every decision you've ever made actually has a consequential multiverse, or separate universe where you made the other decision.
You need to be doing this in a nerd voice while you're doing this, but
Another
there are many different
decision.
universes.
There are quite a few universes.
No, I think
Anyway,
that's
so
good.
he's going to bring this in. So who Doctor Strange is he was a sort of narcissistic surgeon who gets in a car accident and his hands are, forever ruined, so he can't do a surgery. So he goes on this quest to Tibet and tries to find this mystic who may be able to heal his hands. And what he ends up finding is that he was destined to become this powerful sorcerer who can wield all these magical items, and his goal is to bring total peace to the multiverse, basically to manifest
Okay.
the multiverse, so it's where it should be, to bring it to balance.
And that's in the trailer that came out. That's Tilda Swinton.
Tilda
she's
Swinton, is playing the ancient one, which is awesome.
which makes sense.
Yeah, in the comic books it was a man,
Uh-huh.
but Tilda Swinton looks really cool in it.
Tilda
so.
Swinton. Yeah,
she's the best.
she's awesome. So she's
So we
the
get
one
to
he's
see
going
him
to
in the
see.
trailer, and we get to see sort of an origin story in the trailer. We see him as a surgeon, we see him with his hands bandaged up, and we see him going to Tibet and sort of having his mind blown.
Uh-huh.
And then we get to see some other sorcerer
Mind blown.
action happening,
Right.
And it's very Inception,
Uh-huh.
which who doesn't like
So-
Inception?
So how does this fit in with the other Marvel movies? Is there going to be crossover in here?
Yeah, well, so he in the comic books created the Defenders with the Silver Surfer and Hulk.
Okay.
So we don't know how that's going to work out, but he is going to pop right in with the rest of these these guys. He's going to be in there.
Okay.
Mixing it up, multiversing it as he goes.
Totally multiversing it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it does look good, and I got to say, Benedict Cumberbatch. Even having not read the comic, I can already tell you he's perfect.
Yeah,
for that.
Cumberbatch is one of my favorite actors right now. I mean, everyone loves him. He's very easy to. You don't say anything bad about Cumberbatch.
No,
Let me just
I'm-
say that. If you say something bad about him online, you're probably going to get, destroyed.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's great. I mean, he's the one that brought Sherlock back. I'm a huge Sherlock fan of the show and the original stories, so he's a great choice for Doctor Strange.
He is good, and there's some different marketing things that he's been doing too that have, I think, been really cool. And I don't know if you've seen these, where he was going out into actual comic book stores dressed as Doctor Strange.
That's awesome.
There's a viral video out there of him showing up at this shop in New York, and it's just their security cams that are filming it. And he walks in his full costume
That's
and
rad.
starts buying Doctor Strange comics and taking pictures with everybody. It was pretty cool.
Well, and so we were talking about Mads Mikkelsen last week, and it looks like he's going
Yes.
to be something in Doctor Strange as well. We
Okay.
don't know if he's going to be the bad guy, but
And he's going to
we
eat
know that's
people.
Greg's.
We know that's what
Greg's
he's going
thought
to do.
is that he's probably going to be the
Mads
bad guy.
Mads Mikkelsen.
He can only play bad guys.
Look him up. He's only allowed to play bad guys. If you've never seen what he looks like, I didn't realize his name until I saw a picture. Mads Mikkelsen. Yep, he looks like somebody
played
who eats
Hannibal
people.
Lecter.
Yeah, he eats people.
Yeah.
That's it. We've decided that. Oh yeah, I was being asked on Facebook what we were drinking, and so it's Occidental Brewing.
Okay.
That's
It's
what
a
it was.
hef. Yeah.
I
I
poured
drank
it
it,
terribly
really
because I poured a
fast.
giant thing of foam. If you are just tuning in, you can watch the beginning of the video another time. Where
Yeah.
I'm a bad bartender. We established that.
Right.
All right. So my question with Doctor Strange, though,
Yeah.
with this coming in with the multiverse, this is where Marvel, because this is Phase 3.
This is phase 3.
Phase 3, is it going to be getting too confusing for the general fan? Because
Well, it's a good question now. Like the old comic books are thought of as something of like an acid trip. It was like mind bending, not only in philosophy but also just in the artistic
Yeah.
depiction of Strange. So it should be really interesting. But the thing is, I've been wondering that too. Like how confusing does it get when there are multiple universes happening at once? It sort of is also a really easy device to use if you want to say just make somebody evil. Well,
Right.
they were from this universe, and they found a portal or whatever it might be, and they come in, and that happened a lot in the original comics.
Yeah.
From what I understand, like that sort of opens up a can of worms that you can just about do anything.
it does.
But we have to have faith in Marvel Studios right now because they're run like a top under Iger over there at Disney.
Yeah.
and they've just been knocking it out of the park.
You're right. I mean, they
One
have. I
after
suppose
another.
they do deserve a little bit of credit. I'm curious what people think. I imagine, that they're liking this. Do you think?
This
Are you
is a
excited
good
about
question
Doctor
for this
Strange?
week, though,
But yeah.
could the multiverse make the Marvel Cinematic Universe too confusing?
Yeah, and and I'll admit, like I read comics when I was a kid, but I haven't kept up, and I'm probably poorer for that. But at the same time, I feel like any of the Marvel movies now, I can pop into any one of them, not having seen the other one, and it'll still generally make sense.
Yeah.
I'll still understand what's going on.
And you don't need eons and eons of backstory.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it'll just be like, oh yeah, that's Thor. Okay, yeah, I know what he does. And then bam. All right, there, we're done.
Yeah, no, and that's of course the job of Marvel Studios is to bring this to the pop culture,
Yeah.
bring it to the popcorn fans and the big blockbuster theaters, and make it consumable for everybody. And comic books, let's face it, were not that until very recently. I mean, they've
Yeah.
dabbled here and there from the DC universe early on with Tim Burton's stuff, but Marvel is the first. Marvel Studios is the first company to really make it consumable for everyone and enjoyable, and yet still bring, the whole crux of what that, the feel of that thing.
Right.
And let's not also forget that just because it's in the comic books doesn't mean it's good. So then, and there are so many different arteries.
Oh, that's opening up.
Well, it's just true. There are so many different arteries that break away, and you can have this Batman, which is a great comic, and this Batman, which is a crappy comic, and the same things in the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, some people like this Peter Parker, some people like this Spider-Man because he wasn't always Peter Parker. I mean,
Right.
so there are so many ways to go, and that I think is the trick that Marvel Studios has to figure out is how do we find the most,
Right.
pleasing,
The most
route
consensus. Yeah.
and not confusing.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task.
But they are doing a great job with it.
Yeah.
One that is also, of course, getting a lot of praise.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, Captain America: Civil War, which is basically Captain America versus Iron Man.
Yeah, well, it's basically the Avengers minus the Hulk and Thor.
Yeah,
And we've got some new superheroes being introduced. We've talked about it already with some of the trailers that have come out. But the cool thing now is this is really being set up as the anti-Batman versus Superman because it's a critical darling in the early reviews. Now, it doesn't come out till May 5th, but there have been 18 major reviews turned into Rotten Tomatoes, and almost all of them are pretty high up there.
I mean, I would give them the benefit of the doubt on any of these Avengers movies that they've been putting out because they have all been really good.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I
they are
thought Age
solid.
of Ultron was a little bit of a step back from the first Avengers, but it was a hard task
Yeah.
to beat the first Avengers. From what we're hearing, Captain America seems to be a step back on track as far as just what everybody liked about the Avengers.
And I'm curious too, for people watching, did you like the second Avengers? Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
Or
I
was
liked it, but I just thought it wasn't quite as good as the original.
Okay.
It was a little messy. It was a little bit
Yeah.
more eye candy than substance. I feel like a little
Right.
bit. I still enjoyed it. But for Captain, let's real quick.
Yeah.
Variety says the most mature and substantive movie from the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. Forbes says the single greatest pure superhero movie ever made.
Wow.
And IGN was sort of like a little wishy-washy on it. They said best ever screen depiction of Spider-Man, but they think it doesn't get as cerebral as Winter Soldier. who was directed by the same people that did Captain America.
Okay.
The Russo brothers. So.
I think it's going to be interesting. Like, I can tell you how successful this is, and it hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
I got pitched a author to come on the show that has already written a book about Captain America versus Iron Man and the
And it's not
implications for the real world and how it relates to everything. This guy already has a book out about it.
Well, I mean, there are some
I'm sure it's a good book. I'm not making fun of his
things-
book. I haven't read it, but I'm
We
just
don't
like,
know.
damn,
Could
you
be
are.
good. Well, I mean, these are really interesting things that it brings up because, the whole Civil War comes down because of the clash between Iron Man and Captain America over the Superhero Registration Act,
Right.
which is like sort of,
There's a lot of things
there's
you
a
can
lot
imply.
of parallels that you can apply to real life for
Yeah.
that,
Right.
the government sort of
The government.
cracking down.
Well, I think it's going to be, I'm definitely excited about it. I don't know if I'll go right away and see it in the theater. I don't know if it's an opening weekend one for me.
Are you crazy?
It's going to be.
Are you crazy,
There's
Greg?
only a handful of times I've gone to a movie on like opening days.
You got
the
a
latest
little,
Star
little
Wars.
touch of the agoraphobia.
Yeah,
there?
it's too many.
You still want all that?
it's
Get out.
standing in line
here.
and people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will see it second weekend for sure.
That second weekend is always the best.
I'll do that. But that does bring us one point though, and this
Yeah.
is just a side announcement that came out about theaters.
Oh no.
And you know what I'm talking about.
This makes me so mad.
So this came out. It's being
Well, what do you hate most about theaters, Greg?
well, it's the other people and people talking during the
Uh-huh.
movie and
And?
phones and all of that. And now there is this report coming out that there is a group of theaters considering making theaters phone friendly so that you can text during the movie and have your light on. They even said play games.
Oh, great.
While you're watching the movie. Which, why are you going to a movie if you're going to be sitting there playing games?
So this is like AMC Entertainment's CEO Adam Aron is the one that came up with this idea, and he pushed it pretty hard, from what we understand. This is sort of like it's baffling to me.
Yeah.
It's to me it's indicative of the theater, the powers that be, just having no idea what they're doing.
Well,
so theaters have been making more and more money thanks to pretty much Disney and Marvel
Yeah.
and a few other things. And but they've also seen some people they've seen a drop off in ticket sales. Not as far as revenue brought in, but as far as people buying.
Yeah.
Like they've seen percentages going down.
That's-
of,
so they
like,
just
how
raise
many
the
people
price.
are buying. Well, they raise the
So
price.
the revenue's doing
They
good.
bring
but
in alcohol. They've
Yeah.
brought in more expensive but nicer theaters, which I actually appreciate.
yeah, like the living room theaters.
Yeah, and just the ones with you remember even 10 years ago or even 5 years ago maybe how many theaters had crappy seats.
Yeah.
Not all of them had stadium seating. Now they have
Sticky floors.
recliners. Now they have cleaner stadium,
Yeah.
cleaner theaters and you can have a beer.
Yeah.
In a lot of them.
Which is great.
So they've made the right moves there and I commend them for that. But I feel like they're floundering with this idea.
Well, because part of what they're saying they're doing it for, and I'm curious what people think too. If you are watching via Facebook or
Yeah.
YouTube right now too, I'll make
Would
sure we
you
have that
want
pulled
to
up.
go to a theater where there's a section or maybe an entire theater where people are texting?
I
I mean, I
mean-
feel like this is just saying those millennials, and anytime you
Which
break
is who
out
they're
the
trying to
word
target.
millennial, you know that it's somebody that's sort of out of touch. You know? Well,
The kids are doing with their pagers
if
and
we
their.
can sell it to them millennials, then we'll really have something. And they like the phones.
Some bells and whistles.
Now, what they're doing is they're doing that on one hand, and on the other hand, they are vehemently trying to stop, Sean Parker's new idea or any other idea of bringing theater windows between the time it comes out in the theater and the time that it comes out for the home. They are absolutely against anything that might disrupt that.
Disrupt the
Sean-
going to the theater experience.
Well, just
Or-
that disrupts the window, the
Yeah.
basic 5 to 6 weeks that you have to wait from the time the movie hits the theater to the time you can get
Mm-hmm.
it at your house. Now, Sean Parker, as we talked about last week, or was it last week?
I don't
One of
know.
these weeks,
Yeah,
but
maybe some
He's
up.
got a new idea, and a lot of people are behind it. I think J.J. Abrams is behind it, Spielberg,
yeah.
Martin Scorsese, Ron Howard, and his idea is pay $50 for a movie, and you can watch it right when it comes out in theater.
At home.
You need a $200 box, and then you can watch it for $50 at home.
Yeah.
Now,
And be on your phone all you want.
and maybe, and some people are against it. James Cameron's against it. Christopher Nolan's against it. And the theaters are obviously vehemently against it. But this texting thing just shows that they're not getting it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to move forward. I don't see why they can't strike a deal where, Sean Parker's system or some other system like it can maybe get maybe not the weekend it opens, but maybe they can trade off. Maybe they push it a week later. I mean, Netflix I think could have worked with them because Netflix is trying to put movies on their site and in theaters at the same time. But they're just standing against it. And you know what happens every time you try to stop progress?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
You go down in flames.
Yeah, they're going to have to adapt in some way. But I mean, that sounds like what they're doing. It's they're grasping
This is
at
their
straws.
adaptation.
Allow
is
phones.
to say, kids, come on in and text your buddies in the theater.
Do your Facebooking while you're watching the movie. Yeah, it's going to be one of those.
And to me,
It
this is
does
the
kinda seem like
the
that.
biggest turnoff. But I mean, what do I know? Maybe they know something I
Right.
don't. Maybe kids do want to go. Maybe them millennials do want to go text while they're in the theaters. That's a nightmare.
Well, that is one of the possibilities. I can tell you, I will never go to a movie theater where that is allowed. That's just.
And maybe
what's
that's
the point?
it. Let's divide
I
the
pay,
people.
I pay my money for it.
We have the
you
good
know?
people over here, and then we have the texting in theaters people over here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the idea. I mean, maybe it's not so bad.
It's good versus evil. It's Captain America versus
Iron Man.
Yeah, it's millennials versus everybody else. All right, well, one other
crazy.
thing that came up here this week, which is kind of exciting, but I am curious what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah.
What everybody else listening thinks about this, and it's about Star Wars, but not one of the new movies.
Right.
It's about the original trilogy, the original one, returning to theaters and being reshown in the theater.
I mean, I love this. This happened when I was in high school.
Yeah,
They did the same
that's right.
thing
They did bring it in.
when they came in and retroactively touched up the movies
But
with all
that's
that
when the-
crappy CGI.
Oh God, it was so bad, the CGI.
But you had to deal with that crappy CGI, but you got to see Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah.
I think I don't even know how old I was when Return of the Jedi came out, but I was not old enough to like remember it in theaters.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a huge deal. And so it's kind of cool that it's coming back around again. I like that. However, they are doing the 97 releases.
Oh, they are. So it's going to have
So
the
it's
really
going
crappy.
to have the horrible, weird CGI dinosaurs walking by for no reason in the background. It's going to have
Just don't
that
fit at
god
all.
awful Jabba the Hutt scene
Yeah.
where Han Solo steps on his tail.
Well, the worst for me is
So
at the end
that's
when
the
they
thing.
celebrate when the Death Star and they
Yeah.
do all those fake shots.
Yeah, with all the
Oh.
fireworks.
Oh,
yeah.
it's horrible. But so they are going to be coming back to the theater, which will that I might go to a beer theater. And
I
go
will
watch
totally
that.
go to that, but here's the thing: like, when are we going to get the original, untouched?
I don't
Star
know if we are.
Wars? I think we have to wait until George Lucas,
Yeah.
God love him, passes on to that next faraway galaxy in the sky, because I don't think he's ever going to let that go.
Right. Yeah. Maybe
he
not.
maintains that the CGI that he brought in is a better movie.
Well, I mean,
do you ever remember?
he doesn't have control of them
do-
anymore,
do
though.
you remember the South? He doesn't, but it seems like somehow he's.
Yeah. Enforce.
I don't know.
the
It's like
Force, I
maybe
don't know.
that was
There's a
something in the
Force joke there
contract
somewhere.
with Disney. It was like, you will never touch the CGI rendered Star Wars because it hasn't come out in any form. I mean, there are whole legions of online people dedicated to doing it themselves,
Uh-huh.
to cutting out the.
But as soon as
the
they
CGI
find
stuff out of the
out-
movie. No, I mean you can buy it. It's like online.
Yeah. But I mean, if they get caught.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably happen the same time they officially re-release the Christmas special, the Star Wars Christmas special. Have you ever seen that?
I have never actually
Oh,
seen that.
It's amazing. If you can find it, because George Lucas went to no end to remove this from any possible place he could
wanted
ever
it
find
gone.
it. Yeah, it was a Star Wars Christmas special that came out. I don't know what year it was. It's so cheesy. It's full of song and dance numbers. And it's all set in like a bar around Christmas, and it's C-3PO like, R2, what are we going to do for Christmas? You know, it's so bad. And
That's
it's
awesome.
amazing at the
Actually,
same
that
time.
sounds
I watch it
amazing. Yeah.
every Christmas. I got
sounds
a
so
buddy who
great.
has it.
Will you bring that
I
in?
mean, I don't have a buddy who has
I
it.
want a
I don't.
copy
I've
of it.
never seen it. Yes, I'll bring in a copy. Find it if
man.
you can. It's well worth it. All right, you
So more Star Wars. We got
more Star
one
Wars,
more
one more Star Wars
thing.
thing, and then we also have at the end here. Another-
Could Disney just send us a check?
They might
By
as
the time
well.
we
Yeah,
get
it
done
pretty
with
much
this.
is all Disney here.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they're putting out a lot of
They've got all
stuff.
the good stuff.
With along the lines of Star Wars. You may have been. You may have predicted
I'm
something.
just saying that maybe I need to be in a casting room somewhere because I knows
You're
what
going
I'm
that far
talking
with
about,
this.
Greg.
You're going that far with this with
No.
one that you might have gotten right.
One. I got one. Well, so just quickly, they're zeroing in on young Han Solo, and from what we've heard, it's going to be Alden Ehrenreich, I think. Is his name Ehrenreich?
You're his biggest fan, so I'm.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
gonna
I
let
am.
you. Yeah,
I know. I did start a fan
because
club.
I have no idea who
It was a
this guy
small
is.
fan club. There's just a few of us. So this guy, I saw him in Hail Caesar, and he was hilarious. He was sort of like it just kind of took you off. Like you didn't expect it. He had a lot of charisma, and I was like, okay, this guy's a really good actor. And I told my girlfriend, I'm like, you watch this guy. You know, this guy's going places.
He's going
this
places,
guy's going
kid.
places. So then
Alden
later,
Ehrenreich.
yeah,
That's his name?
I think that's right. So later, it was we found out that he was one of like 5 people in the running for young Han Solo, and we were saying, I don't know if anybody can do it, but I said on the podcast, we have it recorded somewhere.
Yes, I will pull that
He's the
up.
guy to do it, and so now it looks like he's going to be the choice. We don't know yet, but it looks from the sources that we've
Sources
heard,
say.
yeah, from
Okay.
his screen tests that he's going
Yeah.
to be the guy.
Okay. And
And-
young Han Solo, that is a bold thing to have to step
It
into.
is so bold.
That's tough.
Trying to be Harrison Ford.
Because it's not like Harrison Ford was that old in the first place when he
No.
first did it. So
And it's not like that character is anything but Harrison Ford
Yeah.
making it what it was. I mean, if you look at even like the dialogue, like don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, but the dialogue is nothing. It's not mind-blowing dialogue. It's Harrison Ford and his
Being
charisma
Harrison
making
Ford.
Han Solo work.
I think-
so. What you have to do is how do you make that happen and not just copy and pretend like you're Harrison Ford?
I don't know. That is one of the things. Like I think it's probably as challenging as Jared Leto trying to sub in for who was it that played Joker? Heath Ledger.
Oh, Heath Ledger.
Yeah, trying to summon Heath Ledger. Like that is a tough act to
I feel
follow.
like
This is kind of a tough act to follow.
That is a tough act to follow, but the Joker is a character that's always being rebooted, and I do think that's a tough one. But I think Han Solo is way harder.
Yeah.
I just don't know how anybody can do it. But I have to say, like, if I've seen anybody that could do it, and that includes Chris Pratt. I never thought Chris Pratt could do it either.
Chris Pratt
and I
is
really like
awesome.
Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
but I don't think he could do Han Solo.
Well,
This guy might be able to do it. If
All right.
anybody can, I feel like he's
you
the
are
guy.
his biggest fan.
I know.
We'll need to get you an Alden Ehrenreich shirt. So
The
you
guy
can
makes an impression.
wear around. I'll try to print one up for you.
We'll see how it works. And that's coming out in 2018, so we'll see how
Okay.
that goes.
All right. Well,
He's got some time. He's got some time to grow.
all right. Well, finally, maybe we should get to this one. This is the story that
This is your sadness.
kind of
This is our highlight of the week.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is the highlight of the week.
Yeah.
And it has to do with some news that came out about Indiana Jones. Now we already knew they were going to be doing a 5th film.
Right.
That was kind of news that had
And-
already broken.
And we had thought that possibly for a while there, people thought Chris Pratt would be the new Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what a lot of the thought was, that they just reboot it with maybe a younger, I don't know, different versions. Yeah, with Chris
Right.
Pratt as Indiana Jones, which I'm not opposed to that because I do like Chris Pratt. I think if anybody could do it, he would be able to do it.
Yeah.
But that is not what's going to be happening. So the news is this, and it comes from an interview with Frank Marshall, who is the franchise producer. And he said that the 5th one is scheduled to come out, I believe it's 2019
Right.
is when this is going to come out, July 2019. Harrison Ford will be 77 when it comes out. He is still going to be playing Indiana Jones in this, and it is going to be a continuation of the Crystal Skull. So it's almost like the Crystal Skull Part 2 is what they have said, which a lot of people did not like the Crystal Skull.
Skulls.
Yeah. And is it Crystal?
I didn't like. I think it's Crystal Skulls, isn't it? There's a skull. And
No,
it's
it's
crystal.
one.
Okay,
Just one.
one skull.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
I was going to feel like an idiot there.
Yeah. No, you're good.
So, yeah, it's going to be a continuation of that, which I guess means Shia LaBeouf
He
is back
can't-
in it again.
He can't be in it.
I mean, I don't know who else. What are they going to do to explain that? Just
don't
all of a
know.
sudden he's gone, and then it's
Well,
just
what
old
happened?
man
I
Jones.
don't even really remember what happened with Shia LaBeouf and
He
the
was.
end of it.
Well, I mean, Indiana Jones got married, and then
did?
yeah, he got married at
Man.
the end.
I think I blocked it out.
Yeah,
I think I forgot all
most
of
people
it.
did.
Yeah.
Most people did. I had to reread what happened at the end.
And
to
let's
be honest.
correct, when I was saying Chris Pratt, I meant him being trying to be a Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Not Han Solo.
Right.
Trying to basically anybody trying to be Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And so obviously for the Indiana Jones franchise, they said no one can do it.
No one can do it.
So we
and
are
that-
going to get the man back.
Yeah, and it sounds like this may be, at least from what they're putting out there, this may be it. Like this is the bookend.
I would think so.
Like it could be along the lines of maybe they turn it into something like James Bond movies, where
Yeah.
like these were the 5 Indiana Jones movies that Harrison Ford did, and then just start over again with a different series of Indiana Jones movies.
Well,
I
just
mean,
wait till Disney buys the Indiana Jones franchise too, and then
you do
Disney-
need to be paid by Disney.
Disney will start it all over again. No, I'm not saying it's going to be a good thing. I'm just saying if Disney buys Indiana Jones, they'll start it right over again. let me tell you that.
Well, that is what's come out. So that it's going to be a continuation of that. Now, I don't think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the worst movie of all time, and
No,
that's
and,
going
you
against a
know,
lot of people because a lot of people hate it so much.
Some people enjoyed it. My friend really liked it.
Yeah.
So
I have one friend who enjoyed
I
it.
had a friend.
A friend. I saw somebody online who said it wasn't terrible.
There was a person.
Well, that's what it's going to be. God bless Harrison Ford, but how much can he move around and do Indiana Jones stuff at 77 years old?
You know, he's still pretty spry.
He is.
He ended up saving his own life by that crash landing on the golf course. I mean,
Oh,
of course,
that's right,
He was
yeah.
in an airplane. I'm not saying he was
He is a badass. You're
hurdling,
right.
and he wasn't running a marathon. But
Yeah,
for a 70s guy, he
can do it.
he still got it.
He's still got it. All right. Well, let us know what you think about
Yeah.
that. Or do you think this is a good direction for Indiana Jones? Should they just wrap it up and end it, or recast it and bring in somebody else? Because they say that now, but they can always change their mind. I don't know what the right direction is. I think maybe you just end it. Just pull the plug.
You think that they can end anything these days when it comes
No,
to franchises?
no. It'll be rebooted in 5 years,
Right.
regardless of what anybody thinks.
and trample all over our dreams.
Yep, and that is exactly what's happened. And then they'll re-release it.
Yep.
All
that's
right.
true.
Any last words? Anything else you wanted to add here before we wrap up?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we've covered the most stuff, except I don't know. I'm really excited for Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
And I'm actually now really excited for Doctor Strange, even though that doesn't come out until November. I think that's going to be a really cool addition.
I think so too. And so next week we're going to be hitting up Game of Thrones,
Oh, man.
which I have
That's
more
a
theories.
whole other thing.
I've got more theories
You
that
do?
I have to get out there. Yes. See, you predicted who is going to be playing
Young Han Solo.
Han Solo. I think I predicted Game of Thrones correctly. I know I gave some of them already, but I'm going to give some more here in just a minute.
Is that a spoiler if you prophetically predict something?
No, I don't think so.
That can't be a spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler if I do that. Which
Oh,
we
wait.
should talk about
Are we
spoilers
gonna
next
go
week too.
over our rules for spoiling?
Why don't we do it next week?
All right, we've got a drinking game set up and everything, so you're gonna have to tune in next week to figure that one out.
Yeah, because I think we've figured out the rules to spoilers. Because
Yeah.
somebody needs to come up with this.
We're gonna
It's gotta
put
be
down
us.
the fundamental law of spoilers, the
All right.
laws of spoilers.
So that's coming up next week. So follow us, on iTunes. We should be in iTunes here actually shortly by next week's show. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. Let us know what you think. Comment on the Facebook page, YouTube, share it. And we will be back next week with more Between the Streams.
Thanks, folks.